Get your feather fluffing fingers fluttering.
Come on, nerds, now gather round. There's a new podcast hitting town. Grab some cans here, nice and tall. Frosting cold, now slam them all. It's time for their two-can rants. Gather round now, 'cause it's two-can rants. We rant on comics and all that's cool pop culture stuff. We ain't no fools. Two beers in, you're hitting your stride. Crack tomorrow, come fight me, guy. It's time for that two-can rants. Gather round now, 'cause it's two-can rants. Y'all ready for another episode of Two-Can Rant?
Fuck yeah!
Well, so are we. So crack your tall cans, feather fluffers. Oh yeah, motherfuckers. You can raise them up in the air, nice and high. Nice and high, high as the sky, high as a kite, high as however you are listening to this. Now the next line is usually wave them in the air like you just don't care, but that's not how we do it around here at the Two-Can Rant HQ. Studio Stadium 2.0. So on the count of 4, feather fluffers. All you feather fluffers, tall cans, short cans, medium cans, all the cans you be shaking. Yeah, on the count of 4, we're gonna slam them. That's how we do it here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's time for that two-can rant. Gather round now, 'cause it's two-can rants. It's time for that two-can rant. Gather round now, 'cause it's two-can rants. It's time for that two-can rants. Gather round now, 'cause it's two-can rants. Well, we'll see if it sounds good.
Alright. Good.
Yep.
What is flappin' feather fluffers? We're just two cans with two tall cans who can rock because we got two tall cans. I'm JD.
I'm Jeremy.
And we're gonna just be giving you a brief little ditty today because we got some Magic the Gathering to play and we ain't got no time to talk about fucking comics.
I mean, we do.
Yeah. Well, because we'll be talking comics, but probably while we're playing. But there's gonna be lots of lulls while we're shuffling and crafting and concocting cool things.
And we're not going to record all that.
Yeah, because that's gonna be way too much to edit.
But there was one thing we were supposed to talk about.
Yeah,
So-
Centralia.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't read the third one. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I didn't
Sorry.
either. But,
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I actually, when I was asking you that, I had just finished the second one, and I was about to start reading the third one, and then dude wanted to, like, switch drivers, and I was like, oh, all right, guess we're not doing that. But what's your opinion on, like, a shared universe, like, a la, like, Marvel or DC or Valiant, but in a novel form? Like, short stories by a whole bunch of different creators.
I thought the idea was really cool when I read about it. I thought the first story was interesting, but not really what they were booking the book as. The second one a little bit hit more of the marks for me and something interesting. Um,
What?
the backstory though about how there's a Centralia everywhere was kind of cool. Like kind of saying like this weird, spooky, kooky shit happens everywhere. I thought it was a cool concept, a cool idea.
Did you do research on Centralia?
No.
It's a real place.
Oh, okay.
Like you read the opening part
Right.
where they're talking about that mining town where it's
Yep.
like on fire and there's
Yep.
yeah, that's real.
Oh, okay.
It's still on fire.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah,
It sounded familiar, but I didn't do a Google check or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
So
it's-
that's legit then.
Yeah, which I thought was a lot more interesting, especially the fact because when you go, because since I travel a lot, like you end up seeing like a lot of the same town names. Like I see El Dorado in pretty much every state I've been in. So the concept that there's a Centralia, I didn't research how many Centralias there were, but that there are these towns all around,
Sure.
and like maybe there's some like underlying connecting thread between all of them.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean that seems even cooler now.
Yeah. So what did the first one not have that the second one did have?
I don't know. The first one was like kind of paranormal, but I thought it wasn't anything like really cool concept wise. Like that girl and her grandma, like obviously had issues around her grandma, and then you find out they have something called the push, and I was like, really, that's what you're gonna fucking call it? Like,
It's this shine.
yeah, I don't know. It seemed kind of weak and lame. And then for the grandma to actually be evil, spoiler alerts, but like for the grandma to actually be evil, I mean, you kind of see it coming. You know, grandma was very adamant about separating her from her mom, and I don't know. I didn't think it was all that cool. When they get to the cave, right, that
Mm.
appears, that was more interesting to me.
Yeah, there was a lot of preamble until they actually got to the
Right.
horror stuff.
And maybe the preamble to like the payoff just wasn't I don't know, it didn't seem that cool to me. I kind of had lost interest at that point.
Mm.
And the second one was more what I think of with like a supernatural type town type thing. And the badass chick who's apparently a witch of some sorts or wizard or some sort of magician to be casting spells and shit against this essentially it's a tree, I guess, but the people
See, I
put that
I-
hex on it.
I didn't actually see her as like a powerful like mage or anything. Just like she had rudimentary knowledge of the, I forgot what she's like. She's a
Mhm.
linguistis.
Professor.
Yeah. So I just felt like she didn't have like the same vast amounts of untapped magical power via the push or whatever their magical thing is as the first girl, but she like had stumbled across it and like could implement certain aspects of it.
Right. I didn't think it was related to the previous story at all, other than the town name, personally. But like, I thought the preamble to that to like get straight into the story was much more interesting. Like she's a linguistics professor. She saw this article. She knew she needed to go, and she went in immediately. And it's literally like this backwater town. Still racist as fuck.
Yeah.
She can't stay in the town past sundown.
Yeah, I didn't actually know about that sundown towns.
I don't know that I had heard that specifically, but I know there's still some very racist towns in the world, so or at least in the US.
Yeah.
It's an
But-
interesting thing. Yeah. But I don't know, that one was a lot more interesting. It was more exciting. There was enough going there was enough to get you going, and then there was like some action pretty quick, or at least you saw the protagonist, or not the protagonist, the antagonist pretty quick in the story as opposed to the previous one where you spend all this time and then at the very end you realize grandma's actually the antagonist.
Yeah. Well, they sort of started like in the middle when they first have the conversation with the grandma, and then she's talking about how God's trying to kill everybody in the town because there's evil going on, and like the mother's like, oh, like what happened to her husband, and the grandma like instantaneously is like, no, 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 that's not what it is.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with it, but like I, because the first story doesn't actually start talking about supernatural stuff until like they talk to the grandma, where the other story like instantaneously starts with like this undercurrent of like there's some spooky shit going on, and you don't actually know if it's related to the supernatural or if it's just regular human evil going on.
Right. There was a little bit more air of mystery in the second one than there was the first one too, I thought, which I found more interesting.
And like there's gonna be like a Centralia 2,
Could
or
be.
like
I don't know. They made it sound like it was going to be something this was like the start of something and they
yeah.
wanted to see where it was going to go.
Yeah, because it sounds like this is just, especially from the back bit that I read, it seemed like this was just like the prelude to the actual clusterfuck of insanity once the evil spirit or whatever that lives underneath Centralia like is resurrected, and this is just establishing our six main protagonists who are gonna be fighting.
All right. Well, you did more research with the back cover than I did cuz I didn't read anything about it. I just knew it was a collection of like horror mystery stories. Cullen Bunn was in it, Brian Quinn, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in." Like I really liked how messed up Metro was, so I was like, I'm down for this. I didn't do any research on any of the other authors or anything like that. I mean, the stories are definitely interesting, and if what you're saying is true and they actually follow it up, not that it's something that doesn't do well and just dies, but I would be down, at least based on the first two, and I haven't even gotten to like the Cullen Bunn main event, and I've
Yeah.
read a lot of his shit, and I really like his writing, comic wise, anyway.
Do you think it's gonna just be because they didn't establish who the antagonist is yet? You think it's like the devil, or like there's a different
Uh,
name attached
I
to
don't
it?
know. That's a good question. I didn't really think that far into it. I was very much looking at them as just like short stories, and those were the stories, and that was it. Now my head's kind of reeling now that you're saying this is the setup to something further. Again, I got to do more research, like actually
Does
read the back
yeah?
covers of my books.
You still have it upstairs,
Yeah, I think so. Sorry.
right? All right, so
Fucked it up.
Centralia Epicenter, first in a series of shared world anthologies. Evil has a network beneath Earth's surface, and its name is Centralia. Throughout the United States, the name Centralia crops up again and again. A dozen towns where thousands of people live, never realizing that supernatural forces are aligning against them. Strange events have occurred in one Centralia or another ever since the 1800s, but these events are growing more and more intense with each passing day. A powerful, malevolent force prepares to unleash its evil upon the world through Centralia gateways located in New York, Missouri, West Virginia, Kansas, Texas, and Washington. They say Centralia a lot in there.
Yeah.
6 unlikely heroes, a necromancer who carries carries a secret the lords of the dead will kill to protect, an ex-special forces combat magician, a clockwork robot detective, a professor of occult studies who refuses to stand idly by when evil rears its ugly head, a young blind psychic who sees through her grandmother's eyes, and a martial artist with affinity for cryptids. Hey,
Yeah.
sounds like you're...
Yeah, I think that's the third story. The
Oh,
third story, they're going into the woods. I was getting kind of excited. I read the first page,
yeah.
and I was
Find them,
tired.
finding themselves facing the forces of evil, attempting to breach the gates and slither into the world.
Yeah, I mean, had I read the back cover, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited about that then. I I also like came off of Mothman into this, and like the idea of these. Well, for one, there's like a huge thing about mines, mining towns, and like the evil forces within them and stuff like that, and how when we dig into the earth, sometimes we unleash these like unknown forces, beings, what have you. Um, Even though Mothman can kind of get into the extraterrestrial, but like that area of the country, and especially like they're saying Pennsylvania, right? That's like
Yeah.
the main Centralia where it's still burning. It's
Yeah.
in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like a huge, for whatever reason, a huge like hotspot for this type of supernatural stuff. So that
Pennsylvania is?
yeah, like
Huh.
in there, that Pennsylvania, West Virginia, like that cluster of area. I think that's
Interesting.
what like a lot of Hellier was about. Or no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they followed around some of Mothman too. Keel and the Euphonauts and all that shit. I don't know. That when I started reading it, that was kind of my thing. I was like, "Oh, this is fucking cool." Like it touches on a lot of the things that a lot of these paranormal researchers are actually researching, which I don't necessarily care. I more or less read it as fiction personally, but
I do a little bit of both.
yeah, I mean it's fun to imagine that type of stuff. Like I know I had said to you, I'm like I don't know how they made a Mothman movie based off of that book because there's very little of that in there, but like the idea of Men in Black and the idea of that Ingrid Cold,
Mm.
like all that stuff is super cool, and then to like put some stock in it and kind of go down that path, it's kind of a cool thing. But again, I also can see how you can go absolutely batshit crazy like Keel did because you start looking. We talked about this last time, I know, but you start looking at those synchronicities and all that shit. Like you could drive yourself nuts.
That was the last time we were in like person though, wasn't it?
No, it was.
Synchro-
I think it was just last week when
Oh,
we
we
were
were.
talking about drifting dragons. Like somehow we got into the
We got
synchronicity
yeah, we
shit
got
and
into
dreams
dreams.
and yeah,
It's probably because of Mothman.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because I had just finished it and you know it's that type of stuff where it's super fun to imagine. And then this Centralia, like I said, the first story kind of left me a little bit wanting, but the second story brought it up strong. And I'm excited for the other stories in the book. I just have not had a great week and have not been reading a lot.
That's what it was the first time I started reading again, so it was a fun little dipping my toes back in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's not like it was written bad.
Oh
I
no.
don't think. I just the first one like you said, I think it had a lot of preamble. That's a good way to put it. To actually get to the action and then the action left you wanting more. But again, had I read the back of the book, that might have been kind of a clue for me as to why it was leaving me wanting more.
I like the Clockwork Ninja robot detective.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking awesome.
That's the one by the Brian Quinn.
Oh, that's probably because he. Oh wait, no, Quinn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Bun because then I was gonna say he was just got done working on the Endless Machine or whatever, and he was stuck in like his steampunk world. Did you read that yet? No.
I didn't. No, did you?
No, I got it, and I looked at like the covers. And
Yeah.
I got 2 stickers with it.
Yeah, I apparently must have accidentally thrown my stickers away.
Oh, that sucks. You can have mine if you want them.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, because they were like stuck in there. Like you had to like dump it out.
Yeah, I didn't.
And
do
I
that.
think there was like a post about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that after the fact that I had received the envelope and the envelope was already like gone in the trash truck. Like,
Oh,
so it wasn't like I could even go out and find the trash bag and dig them out. Not that I probably would have. I just would have thrown them on the fridge. That's it.
I got a really cool Kickstarter. I can't remember what it's called though, but it's like dodgeball, like futuristic dodgeball meets Hunger Games.
It's a comic book.
Yeah, and it's like
Sounds cool.
the fucking coolest art ever.
Nice.
And like I don't know what they did. Like there was a shit ton of stuff in there. There was like a pin, like 2 pins for some reason, and I just like got like the basic thing because they reached like some tier, they just like gave everybody everything. It was like 2 pins, a patch. I think there's stickers in there. There's like some like designer sketchbook of character designs in there, like 2 watercolor prints that are signed,
Damn.
and then like the actual book itself, which is like it's a pretty thick thing, like maybe the size of the Star Wars.
Oh, so it's like a trade, not even just like a
Yeah, single.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is something that's kind of frustrated me with like the cost of some of those Kickstarters and just getting like a floppy book, like
Yeah.
a single issue floppy. That
Yeah, because it's like $10 for a floppy,
yeah.
but you're supporting a dream.
Yeah. And I get that. I just let me know when the trade's coming out and I'll just do that. Cuz who knows how long between the next till the next Kickstarter where we actually get the next book of the Oz and if I'll even care at that point.
No, it's soon. I'm pretty sure.
Oh. I don't know. He's sending out emails. He's working on like lots of other stuff too. So
No, one of the ones that I read from Dave Pepsuo said that it was coming out like starting soon. So it might be like a year thing.
could be.
So I don't know if that's like a good timeline to like be doing a comic, like a once a year, because that was like 48 pages.
Right. It was good. It's just I don't know if it's enough. And there are so many indie comic book publishers right now. How can you not get somebody to pick something like that up?
There might be more money in it doing it, Kickstarter wise.
That's fair. And I would respect that, but I don't know. It's more money out of my pocket.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, with that, yeah, I don't know what, because it's not that far fetched of an idea. It seems like it would easily be
Right.
picked up, considering he's got a Girl Scouts meets like Armageddon,
Right.
or end of the world survival. Or
The swearing and I mean it doesn't seem like something that Aftershock wouldn't put out or some of these other comic books that I've been from weird publishers I've been reading that have like swearing, nudity, like all the stuff that your big players aren't going to touch. So I just but the money aspect is a good point. I didn't think about that.
or it's a passion project. Like maybe these other people have other full-time jobs that they're
Yeah.
doing,
yeah.
and this is just a thing they're doing on the side, and they want it to be as good as they can, but they don't want to have to be pushing it out in 2 months, 3 months, or
Yeah.
6 months.
And all of that's fair. I just when you drop 10-15 bucks for a book plus shipping, so now you're up to $20 and you do get other cool stuff, but then I wonder, do I want the other cool stuff?
Pins, yes.
Pins are cool. I'm not upset with the Papos one cuz I did get Spencer and Locke and some cool pins out of that, and I did like the Oz. I don't know if I'm going to do the next one, just I guess it depends on when it comes out and stuff, but I'm definitely being a lot more selective over what I'm picking out. I haven't even touched um, that other one that I backed, or that we both backed.
Oh, it's Helen Stalingard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of like Kickstarter books that I haven't read. Like I really want to, but I also have like not read all the other comics that I've gotten. And it's not that I don't want to. It's just that now I am putting all my free time into other things,
Yeah.
more productive things, as opposed to just doing leisurely hobbies, I guess.
Yeah. No, and that's fair. I'm kind of not in that boat, but I've been
No, you've been painting.
Yeah,
That takes
I-
up a lot
well,
more time than
yeah, I mean a little bit. I don't know. I've been in like a pretty bad funk this week and like part of last week too.
It was super cold. That doesn't help.
No, and just everything that's been happening. So it is what it is, but I gotta try to get back into it. But I don't know. I didn't order any comic books this week. I didn't even look. just said fuck it. I got the second Swamp Thing. I don't know if I'm gonna get the other ones when they come out. Maybe I'll just wait for a trade or something. I don't know. I was in a funk, so clearly I was never even thought about it, never looked at it. At this point, it's whatever.
So, what did your funk-ridden mind think of My Hero Academia number 300? Have you read any of My Hero
I've never
Academia?
read any My Hero Academia,
Okay,
so like,
so then here's the question pretty much. We always talk about like can you just jump into a manga and find it interesting not having read anything at like a crazy ass number and how that would relate to like DC or Marvel shit where they always feel the need to like reboot it cuz you got to like cuz people aren't going to understand. They have this fear that if they have the numbers too big people are just never going to pick it up.
so here's the deal. It, where you dropped me in
Yeah.
was a good starting point for another arc, right?
Mm.
Clearly, that's what they're setting up. Where it's the same thing in DC and Marvel, they just need to actually advertise and do a better job of reaching people and helping people. I mean, you should just talk to the guy at the comic book store, and you should go to a good comic book store where people can actually help you find the beginning of an arc if that's what you so choose, or go on the internet or whatever. Um,
Well, no, so then that's another thing. Like all the people who are going and picking up comics, they are already doing all that stuff. But
Not necessarily. I mean,
you do like a mediocre amount of research on stuff.
me?
Yeah.
I don't know. To be honest, my thing, I scroll through all the independent shit lately, and I just look for anything that says number one and sounds cool, because I know that I can hop on, and that it's new and that it's starting. That's how I found that Space Bastards book, which is pretty cool. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it now because I don't know if I'm gonna order books for a while, but um,
Yeah, we both got healthy backlogs of shit to read.
I I don't have a
And
big stack.
to read
Surprisingly,
and reread
yeah,
is what I'm saying.
yeah. I would, yeah. I want to get back into like some of my Swamp Thing stuff that I have sitting there. As far as manga goes, and that book seems, or that chapter seems like it's setting up very much like a Big Two comic where the heroes done messed up and now they have to fight back to save face and become heroes again. Is kind of what I got out of it.
Yeah, kind of. That guy,
That guy.
Endeavor. So
And
like,
his son is evil. I
yeah,
got
one
that.
of his sons is evil.
Oh, he's got two sons?
He's got like all those people who showed up at the end. Those are his kids.
Okay. So
And
that's where not having
and
the
like
background, but it
yeah.
didn't detract from anything.
Yeah. So like they just got done fighting the big bad guy who was trying to get resurrected. Because there are two powers in here. There's
me too much. What if I want to read it?
oh well, hopefully you do because it's really good. It's a love letter to like superhero comics, but done way better.
I mean, I can see the love letter. Like I said, it seemed it was very much a trope that I had seen before.
Yeah.
And on that note, as excited as I was about the second Swamp Thing after the first Swamp Thing, I'm just gonna say it ends like every other Swamp Thing.
Is he still a swamp thing?
No, but
Wait, what?
well, he sacrifices himself to save humanity.
Again?
Right. So same Swamp Thing trope. And you can make fun of me, and all you people can say, "Ah, it's shit. We don't like it." But then you fanboys always want the same fucking shit over and over and over again anyway, so what do you fucking care? And maybe I fall into that group, because at the end I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I closed the book, and I thought back, and I said to myself, this is the same Swamp Thing book I've read 40, 50 times. Every time he
But-
sacrifices himself for humanity and fucks himself. I mean, he turns into this
That's
giant.
weird.
Well,
That's
it doesn't
new.
like literally fuck himself, but
Well, I mean, he's asexual, so.
True. Anyway, not the Swampy I want to think about right now. Anyway, he turns himself into a
That's for
gigantic
later.
tree that protects humanity from the darkness that's released by Woodrue, and humanity lives underneath this gigantic tree in the safety of this tree, and then one day they go out and see the light, and that's the end. So you get the idea that he saved humanity.
Hmm.
But in that, he sacrifices all the people, all the other Swampies around him, and that those were all creations of him. Mario lives in our house. Anyway, all those other swamp things he was interacting with
Mhm.
were him. Constructs that he made.
I thought we did establish that.
No, I don't remember that.
Or like that was one of the things that we posited as could have been happening.
Right.
We didn't know if they were him or like he had created them.
Right. So that's confirmed.
So that's where I had said that it was like that Inside Out or whatever, that Pixar movie,
Mm-hmm.
where if like they were all just his emotions.
Yeah. So relating it back to the My Hero Academia, I could see how that would be a love letter to the superhero tropes, but done way better. I don't know about done way better.
No, it's,
One chapter I can't say that.
well, I'm saying it's done better. Because it's hitting like all the good high notes of like regular superhero comics.
That
But
one
then it's
chapter, or are you
No,
just
not
saying
like
My
the
Hero?
whole
Okay.
entirely. Like it's hitting all like the cool beats. Like you got like the backstories. You've got the different kinds of heroes. The like your aspirational, your cathartic, your turncoats, your underground, your street level heroes, your bigger than life heroes. You got your multiple teams. You got your like celebrity heroes, your lesser heroes. Like there's all like a corresponding like you can see like Marvel and DC comics like in this like the character designs and inspirations. They wear them on their sleeves, but you actually get fucking epic fights where it's not like we're gonna build up to a cool fight and then have it resolved in like 2 panels and then get back to talking about melodramatic nonsense that doesn't actually matter.
You're all about the fights, and I'm all about the nonsense that doesn't matter.
Well, no, there's a difference between the nonsense that doesn't matter when it's written well and is intriguing as opposed to just jawing for the sake of jawing.
Because
Because a writer's got to get paid by words, not like actual writing storytelling. Like that's why the best Batman that was in that 80th anniversary was Warren Ellis's, and it had like so little dialogue whatsoever, but the story that was told there beat like all the other ones where there was like nothing but word balloons in there. And I'm down with word balloons because Sandman is like nothing but word balloons, but there's weight and impact behind Neil Gaiman's selection of words that he's using, as opposed to like Bendis, who just has like pages and pages of people talking, and like everything that was said in those could have been like filled up in like a couple sentences.
right, there's kind of going back to the Drifting Dragons conversation too. You talk about Bendis and how people say he's such a great character developer, yada yada yada, and I couldn't care less for his characters, even though they're characters that I like. Some characters that I like, I couldn't give two shits less. But Drifting Dragons, I haven't even like delved into 3 volumes of this, and by the first chapter, I was already more intrigued with half those characters than half the other shit. But that, and maybe manga kind of benefits from this. I mean, you look at these superhero characters in American comics, and let's say, and that's where the fanboys come out is, well, I read, Morrison's Batman, that's my Batman, or I read Snyder's Batman, that's my Batman. And then you see someone else write it, and maybe the appreciation goes away some because you already have these preconceived notions about these characters, as opposed to Drifting Dragons, where I have no idea who any of these people are or how to relate them. Same with My Hero Academia. Um, I thought the characters were very interesting. And again, it was kind of my thing because it was just a lot of dialogue and understanding what was going on. And he's in the hospital and finding out where they're going to go forward. I'm not going to lie, it definitely interested me as to what the fuck happened in the previous 299. And then the thought process of having to go through 299 of these things was tough. And then I was going to go back and read 1, 2, and 3 on the Shonen app until you asked if I had read any. And if I didn't, we could have a conversation. So I didn't read those. I probably will go back and read them at some point.
It's $2 a month.
Yeah, I know.
So and they're short, so you can burn through them pretty quick.
Right.
And
I don't like reading on a phone.
Well, you got your computer. You can do it on your
Yeah,
computer.
I know. I didn't end up doing it on my computer.
And there's like this cool thing where you can put your laptop screen on your TV.
Yeah, I know. I haven't done that either.
Just saying.
I wonder if I could do that with my phone, because I can watch YouTube from my phone on my TV. I just Apple just lets me throw it up on the TV with my Roku.
Yeah. No.
I should see if I can do that.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, but having those preconceived ideas about a character, it's kind of the same thing with Swamp Thing. I love Swamp Thing. I got Alan Moore's Swamp Thing in my head. I got pre saga of Swamp Thing, which wasn't as good, but still cool. And I can draw on all these different characters, but you always have the preconceived notions. I think that's why I like Brian K. Vaughan, his version with Tefe, why that struck such a chord with me. And I still rate it as some of the top Swamp Thing in my book. Doesn't beat out Saga, because that was obviously what got me back in 100%. I think that struck such a chord because it was a completely different idea with different characters, where you didn't have these preconceived ideas of what they are, what they should act like, what their X, Y, and Z favorite food is. I don't know. And that's where then we get in an argument about, does canon matter? Because My Hero Academia lives within this world, right? And while it's 300 issues, it's still not 25 or how many years of Batman. What anniversary was it? 50? 80th. 80 fucking years of Batman. That means you have fans of all ages, of all different decades of comics. I mean, 90s comics were different than 2000s comics, which are different than the 2010s. And now we're in a whole nother, century, right?
Yeah.
10 years? Okay. So now we're in another century.
Decade.
Decade, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry, century's
100.
100. All right, so I fucked that up, guys. Sorry. We're in another new decade of comics, and it's always changing. But for me, and I didn't even read comics really in the 90s, but that's a sweet spot, and even some of the later 80s stuff, because that's a lot of the Swamp Thing stuff that I'm really, 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 really enjoying.
That's a kind of weird thing, because that's like a thing that is brought up when people talk about comics. Is the 80s and 90s is when the comics were really good, late 80s, early 90s, and then it all sort of gets lesser. Some of them come back and are good, but that's where the good stories are.
But yet comics are more popular now than ever with all these comic book movies coming out.
Yeah, but people aren't reading the comics.
No, but I'm just saying, you would think there'd be a correlation there. There's clearly not, but I'm just saying comics and being a nerd is more popular than ever. And the shit sucks. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't suck. I mean, there's good stuff. It's just, you got to wade through a lot of bullshit to get to it. Or find it.
Well, there's the one thing that always was weird. Why they don't have better crossovers, like especially with like the Marvel stuff. Like they have like that perfect opportunity for synergy with the movies. Actually, a better example is Aquaman. Aquaman like had a hugely popular movie, but then the Aquaman comics, they made it so Aquaman like forgot his memory. Like there was no
Yeah.
correlating thread to it. Like if you were like, "Holy crap, this Aquaman movie is awesome. I want to see what he's doing in the comics." And you're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah. Well, he was doing some pretty dumb shit.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that doesn't work well. And I think the same thing happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like the comic was doing some like weird crazy shit that didn't actually make sense if you had just seen the movie and you wanted to jump into the comic. Like I think there should be like a betterly established parallel between the two.
Right. I mean, yeah, but also no. But yeah, there should at least be some parallels to it. I don't know. Guardians is tough for me because I was reading it when they rebooted it before the movie came out. So I had already been reading the comic before the movie even came out. And I really enjoyed the comic, the early comic. And that was Bendis too. But again, I was very early on in my comic exploration. Speaking of Ellis, though, I really got to read more of his shit again. I need to reread Transmetropolitan.
That'll be a podcast at some point.
Ah, I fucking love that book. That is a fucking solid series.
Spider Jerusalem.
I don't really care what you think of the guy or what he did or did not do. Don't give a shit. That dude can fucking write or not write and be great.
Oh yeah, because you know people still listen to Michael Jackson songs
Yeah,
and like Michael Jackson.
I just had this conversation with somebody at work. They were condemning somebody for doing something. And I turned and looked and I said, "Weren't we listening to Michael Jackson yesterday?" "Well, yeah." "Okay. He did some pretty fucked up shit." "Well, that's a little different." "Okay, you were listening to R. Kelly the other day. What about him?" "He did some pretty fucking heinous shit." "Oh, yeah. That's what I thought. You don't have a real argument for that shit." Is what it is. People do fucked up shit. Doesn't make their art better or worse. Van Gogh cut his ear off. Fucking crazy man.
That's a little bit different than like what R. Kelly and
Oh yeah.
Jackson
No,
did.
no, no. I'm not trying to compare. I'm not trying to compare it like that. I'm just saying don't judge people. Or maybe do judge people, but don't judge their work.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a conversation we can have a different time
All right, fair
because
enough.
there is some interesting like levels you can go into it.
Yeah.
Like, is their art only good because they had those like malevolent streaks, and if supporting that person, if it actually like is benefiting them, and what does it say about you if you do enjoy that? Blah 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 blah. There's lots of
It's
stuff.
a debate for the ages. I've heard that debate for a long time. There's a lot of people that you can listen to talk radio and they'll have call-ins. Should we listen to Michael Jackson or not? Should we play their music or not? I think it's funny that I would like to see if Michael Jackson did what he did. If it happened now, what would happen? Because then people were like, "Ooh, yeah, that's not very good." But people didn't have their soapboxes like they do now. Everybody's got a soapbox in their fucking pocket.
Oh, Marilyn Manson just got
Yeah,
in
yeah.
trouble for something. Grooming,
Yeah.
maybe was the word. Or
Being
assault.
abusive, sexually abusive. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Again, our society doesn't tolerate it like it tolerated it then. Because I don't think Michael Jackson really suffered a whole lot from any of that stuff. So,
Anyways, conversation for a different time.
all right, fair enough.
Anything else on My Hero Academia?
I
There's-
think I'm going to read it.
There's a Deadpool dude in there.
So they literally just rip off American comics.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Well,
Oh.
then inspired by. It's a love letter too from. He's got a different power set, to some degree, but he acts like Deadpool. And like that Endeavor dude is kind of like Batman,
Okay.
and All Might is pretty much Superman. But like, so what's really interesting about this is like what they're establishing now was like heroes used to be really good. Like they're going from DC where the heroes bring optimism and hope, and like the civilians like love the superheroes,
Oh,
and the fight just happened, and some shit got revealed that's super fucked up, like with that Endeavor dude and like some other stuff. And so like as they were talking about like heroes, like being a hero was a job, and like the villains for the most part weren't that bad. They were like run of the mill people who like because their thing is called quirks, which is what lets them have their powers, and all humans pretty much now have quirks, like a vast majority of them. So most people have some abilities, and the ones who have like really strong abilities like can become superheroes to fight the other evil doer people. But like the most heinous people escaped like all the Arkhams and are now free. And
yep.
after the big fight, uh the heroes are like enemy number one. So they've gone
Right.
from like DC
Right.
to Marvel universe.
To being like X-Men.
Yeah. So now you're like, because like My Hero Academia, like there's a school where people go to like learn to be like the good costume heroes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's gonna be like repercussions. Like the citizens might like
All right.
attack it. Like it's
It seems cool.
They changed all the rules. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
All
Because they
right.
talk about how like usually the citizens would just wait for the heroes to come, but now because there is no trust in heroes, the citizens are deciding to fight back on their own. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
All right. Yeah. I mean, that's all I got. Just that I was probably going to check it out, and I'm glad I was kind of spot on with the I'm like this seems like comic tropes.
Oh,
Very familiar comic
yeah.
tropes.
But I think it's more fun than like
It could be. Like I said, I just read the one thing like you told me to. So that's what I did.
the one thing though I will have to say about like Western comics is like sometimes the art is it's gonna hurt better like looking at like if you look at it from like
If you could see his face right now, he is extremely pained in saying this.
Well, no, like it was like when we were talking about Drifting Dragons, when we talk about those colors,
Oh.
like and how we would love to have that,
Right.
and like that's kind of what like Western comics is, depending on who the artist is. Like there's just some visual impact that black and white and gray can't actually achieve. That having those 18 pages in like glorious color on the high gloss paper,
Right.
red, like
So that is one complaint I have about manga sometimes too, is with the black and white, and not so much with Drifting Dragons, but other manga. There's not enough contrast that I have a hard time seeing what's actually going on, especially during the fight scenes. I have a very, very, very hard time with all the line work and all that stuff, and it looks super intricate and cool, but I'm sitting there cockeyed to the side like, is that dude's head? Is that his fist? Is that his fist meeting a dude right in the jaw? Like, I have a hard time understanding, seeing, and maybe it's my eyes, I don't know. I don't have great eyes anymore, unfortunately. My painting is suffering from it, but
I still think manga art is like way cooler. But I'm saying there is a nice visual
right.
like
But that's just like you're talking, and you can say so much without any words. There's something to be said, and I think Drifting Dragons is a very good example. I also thought was it the Vampire Hunter? No, Helsing did really good job with that too. Is the lack of color, you can do some really, really cool fucking shit.
yeah.
So I do have trouble seeing it sometimes, but I haven't had that trouble with Drifting Dragons. There's enough difference in things that I can see it. I'll have to find some examples for you. I had a very hard time with One Punch Man in some spots.
Oh.
I just would look at it and be, all right, he's kicking ass. And I go on to the next panel. Like, I don't know what to say.
He's kicking ass for the next 10 pages.
Yep.
No words, okay?
I'm not saying I didn't look at the pictures. I did try. But yeah, there's something to be said for black and white too. I've been reading that Cerebus in Hell, and that's all black and white and super intricate and detailed. And maybe he doesn't draw it, but also he reuses like the same panel over and over and over and over and over again, just changes the words. So maybe he just does one super intricate drawing or print or something. I don't know. I'll have to show it to you sometime. Anyway, sorry. That's all I got for My Hero Academia. It's pretty good. That's all we got. All right, so this will be the quickest podcast up ever, probably, because it's only 47 minutes and won't take me that long to edit.
Oh, we should have done video, and then it would.
Yeah, no, we could have. Well, it probably would have been tough. Anyway,
it would have been really weird looking audio video because it would just be like one laptop, like at a
right,
weird, obscure angle.
Yeah, we don't have any cool cameras, guys.
Not yet.
Maybe if we get some subscribers on the YouTubes, we'll get it.
So if you like what you've heard, you can subscribe. There's a button somewhere on there. We don't know how to do the floating icon things that would pop up on the screen. We'll get there at some point.
We'll get there. Yeah.
But we got a thumbs up button and a thumbs down button. If you click the thumbs up, it's much appreciated. If you click the thumbs down, it's not as equally appreciated, but you got something to bitch at us about. Let us know what it is.
Respect. Okay, so I gotta think about this again, just like every other time, and I can't even blame it on the beers. We're just two cans with two tall cans who can rock, because we got two tall cans. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm JD.
Read some My Hero Academia, bitches.